We're going to call this Education Committee to order at 3 p.m. And Councilman Hargis, would you mind giving the blessing?
Sure.
All right.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the many blessings that you bestow upon us as individuals and as a nation. We ask that you guide and direct each decision that we make. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Do roll call, please.
David Walton,
Honey.
Brian Warner,
Honey.
Bill England,
Honey.
Steve Austin,
Here.
Harley Bezer, Joe Bird,
Honey.
Sean Crickman, Mike Dobbins,
Here.
Frankie Hargis,
Present.
Wanda Hatfield, Rex Jordan, Dick Lay,
Honey.
Mike Shambaugh,
Here.
Mary Bakershaw, Theo Spin,
Here.
Denise Taylor, Victoria Vesquez. We go for.
All right, thanks, Shay. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the minutes from February 12th.
So moved.
So moved. Second, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Moving down to reports. Ms. Diane Kelly.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Good to have you back, Ms. Kelly.
Thank you. Wasn't here last month? Probably wasn't. You have the education report before you. Want to tell you a little bit about, we are purchasing a billboard in the Tulsa area. It's there's 7 different locations, and it'll be a revolving billboard. It'll be in our monthly report next month. It will have where our office is there in Tulsa, and it will also have some information about Cherokee.org. So they'll know how to contact us. We've also got some t-shirts we're ordering. Now, I can do this because I'm a Republican, but there's a Democrat lady that keeps saying, impeach 45. Well, I took her little logo and I said, 1624, 1624. This means you can be 16 when you come into the Job Corps and you can be 24 when you come in as well. So we're going to have some t-shirts made up so the people that come over for the tours on Thursday will get a t-shirt. Then they'll publicize for us when they go back out. So we'll have Talking Leaves Job Corps on it. So if you want to send someone over to the Job Corps to tour it on Thursday, well, they'll get a t-shirt. We don't have them ordered, but I just thought I would put this in there because I know everybody's Republicans or Democrats, so it doesn't
That
matter.
shows up really well on the live stream, and the people that's tuning in on Facebook and everything.
That's
maybe,
right.
Just go ahead and repeat those dates again so they can get that message out
We
there.
have tours at the Talking Leaves Job Corps, which is located on Ball Hill Road, which is between where the Election Commission office is and the EMS and the Marshal Services. You go down that road about a fourth of a mile. We have tours start at 10 o'clock on Thursdays. So if you want to come over, we'll give you a tour, show you our vocations, and then we'll give you lunch if you want to eat lunch
Okay,
with us.
All right, there you go. All right,
And
thank you, Diane.
we've also got the health department. We're teaming up with them, and I want to thank Dr. Graham and Jeff Sanders. These are sacks. When you go to the pharmacy, you may get a sack if you're a person who gets a lot of medication. Well, they may give you a sack. Well, we asked if we could put our logo on the sacks, and we purchased these sacks. We've got 100,000 bags that were given to the pharmacy, which will have information about the Talking Leaves Job Corps on it. So for probably a month or so, or maybe 2 months, at all of our locations, you may get a sack when you go to the pharmacy that'll have something about Talking Leaves on it. So just want to share that with you. And we've got Brad Eubanks and a couple of the girls here that are conducting the tours on Thursday. So that will leave our recruitment staff time to go out there and take the applications. We will have a recruiter in the Oklahoma City office, and we'll have one in the Tulsa office on a full-time basis. And we also are getting signage at our Oklahoma City location as well. So we've been real busy trying to promote our Job Corps Center. And right now we're like 90% in our OBS, and our placement is way up there. So we're really moving in some areas. In some areas we're a little bit behind, but we're not way behind. We've also are moving one of our employees that was in Sallisaw over to our Muskogee office to do the summer youth employment. Dink Scott, he'll be over there 3 days a week at the clinic. So we'll have someone working over there. Our apprenticeship program is moving. Roy Poteet and Willard and John Overacker have been working on our building. So the building that you see buildings trades in will be moving up to the other location at Southgate, and that's where our buildings trades and our apprenticeship program will be located.
Good.
So now I told you about training. Do y'all have any questions?
Any questions for Ms. Diane Kelly?
I have one.
Yes, Councilwoman Shaw?
Diane, I've received 2 phone calls in the last month, and it has to do with this wonderful, successful scrub tech program you've got going. And I appreciate it because I'm well aware that in, 6 to 9 months or something, someone can graduate from this and actually make a decent living to support a family. But the question was asked of me as to why Hastings isn't hiring our graduates.
Hastings hires them if they have a vacancy, and
It's not the information I've received from 2 of our graduates. If you could check with the liaison there and see if there is a problem of some sort. It was insinuated to me there is a problem, and if you could just follow up on that, I'd be grateful.
the training programs that we offer are not necessarily just for Hastings or for our clinics. They are for in-house if we have vacancies, but we're hoping that they can obtain jobs in any of the local health venues
I hope
in the
they
area.
can. I hope they can. I was just wondering if you could just check with that liaison.
I
and make
can.
sure there's not a problem.
I
So
can.
if we can, do
The-
something to settle that situation.
The Surge Tech program is actually a joint effort between us and the health department. Laura Lundberg, who works for the health department, and Jan Grogan, who works for us. They are the 2 that select the students who actually, Patty Sumner selects the students that go in there. The health department pays for their salaries, and then we pay a tuition rate to the health department for those students who go in there. So it's
I
a
think-
joint effort between both of
I
us.
think the program's remarkable. I just wanted to see if you could follow up to see if there was a problem. There may not be anything,
Okay.
but I just appreciate you checking that out.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any questions for Ms. Diane? Yes, Councilman Buzzer?
Diane, I'm going to ask you this question. I'm going to ask Ron. On the Director of Studies program, do you have involvement in that as far as help placing some of those people there?
No, sir.
Somebody's going to be calling it because I said, call Diane Kelly. Okay.
The directed studies program is in the education department.
Okay, well, that's,
But we'd be glad to help in
yeah,
any way
well,
we
I told them
possibly
to call you,
can.
so they're going to call you. So.
Okay,
But I'll get it from Ron too.
Okay,
Yeah,
all
Thank
right.
you. Thank you, sir.
thank you.
All right, thank you, Diane. Next is
Mr. Ron Etheridge.
Mr. Ron Etheridge, Executive Director's Report.
Okay, good afternoon. I'm looking for Leroy, and I don't want to steal his thunder, so I won't. I know he's coming. He may be having an assembly right now. I'll kind of hint what his thunder is. I know you know what it is, but anyway, I'll let him take care of that. I do want to say it was a good state basketball tournament. We had lots of schools in the 14 county area that made it to the state tournament. We had 2 or 3 that got gold balls and silver balls. Pryor got a silver basketball, which wasn't really, I don't think, supposed to happen. I mean, I don't think they're supposed to advance as far as they did. So they had an outstanding year, and then I happen to have a granddaughter that plays on Fort Gibson's team that she rode the Pine Tar the last 2 games, got to play the first game, but they won one. And then, like I said, I'm not going to steal Leroy's thunder, so he hasn't showed up yet.
You know, while you're on this subject here, hats off to Little Kansas.
Well, most definitely, yeah.
You know,
they're
they
there.
had
Muldrow.
It's unfortunate that they matched us up first round.
Yeah.
Because it was Cherokees in that gym that you wouldn't believe. Little Kansas, Sequoia, and we were all various kin folks, everybody. That was really an awesome sight to see there, to see so many of our people there.
Yes, it sure was.
Hats
Sure.
off to Little Kansas.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, Councilwoman Shaw?
Yes, Ron, I have a question. I'm not sure you're the person I should ask it to, but you can tell me who to go to. Saturday night, I noticed that the gym wasn't as packed as it has been in previous years, because I've been the last 5 years. So my question to you is this. You know, $10 a ticket's pretty pricey when you've got a family, say of 4. Do we have funds somewhere that our ball team members' families can go at a discount or for free, their families?
You know, I don't know. That's first time that's probably been brought up, to be honest about it, and maybe we could look into it and see, you know. But was it $10? I didn't realize it was $10. I thought it was
$10 a ticket. And you take mom and dad and little
Oh,
brother
and
and
seven,
sister
I mean,
come
yeah.
watch you play in the state finals.
right.
That's a lot of
No,
money.
you take the whole family, it is.
Yes.
That's a lot of money. It sure is. And then time you go to the concession, you gotta go to the concession if
Well,
you're gonna
especially
be there.
when you got brother and sister. But what I was wondering is there a fund that we could draw money, or is there some way we could give them a ticket or something that would allow them admission, you know?
Yeah. That would be something we'd have to probably work out with the Activity Association and see, what.
You get 3 games.
Right,
You get
okay,
three
so
games.
that's the deal on Saturday.
Sure.
And normally it's $7 and then $10 on Saturday evening, okay?
I
And,
went to the movie the other day, $10 to get in, $4 for popcorn, $3 for a bottle of water. I'd rather be watching 3 games for $10.
yeah.
And the movie wasn't that good.
Well,
Okay.
if possible, could you please check on this and get back to us and see if that's a possibility?
Yeah, we can inquire and see what could be done.
That's a good gesture, Councilman.
Thank you.
Yes, Councilman Buzzer?
Yeah, Ron, can you give me a lesson on how we go about getting kids into the Director of Studies program? Are you the first person to contact? Or
Actually,
how does that work?
of course, they'd have to go online and just fill out an application, just like any other. And Jennifer would be the first.
Gold ball.
Okay, yeah, there he is. Okay, there we go. Yeah, he speaks loud and clear, doesn't he? I didn't steal your thunder.
That's my turn.
Yeah, no, you're all right. I didn't steal your thunder. You got proof right there. Yeah, okay. But no,
Go
that,
online, get the application, okay?
yes, yeah, they get to go online.
Go online, get the application. And then how do we determine if that's what we want, you know? Does it go before a committee if you want a doctor or a lawyer or a pharmacist or?
Yes, and I don't know, Secretary, maybe it will bail me out here. Secretary, on the directed studies, I may need your help just a little bit. Now, if not, then I'll get with Jennifer and we'll come back. And I hate to put you on the spot right there, but I mean, he's asking me a question here regarding that. Does that go before a committee? I cannot remember, because I haven't dealt with it. Okay. I just need to get back with you. I apologize that I don't know more about it than what I do.
Okay, well, I've had a couple of kids ask me, and I thought, well, I thought I knew, and I told them to call Diane Kelly, she'd know, but I just want to make sure I'm telling them right.
Yeah, if you need to know, Diane usually knows, you know, but
I got one more question too. You remember Warner scholarships for valedictorian, salutatorian? Are you getting any feedback from the superintendents on after we cut that out?
I've had 3 or 4 contact and want to know how they can go about doing it.
Did you tell them?
And I've told them, yeah, exactly, yeah, what they need to do. Yeah.
Okay.
Sure have.
Okay. Councilman Buzzer, they'll get that answer to you on that committee, or if there is a committee who selects those directed studies applicants.
The what committee?
I'm not sure if there's a committee or not, but they'll get back to you
Okay.
on that directed studies program
Okay.
to see how those are selected.
All right.
I like to know that myself, so.
Thank you. Thank you.
I know we don't have but 4 or 5 that are on it right now currently. And,
Okay.
but it's, we've just had one graduate, dental, and get ready to go to work for Cherokee Nation. So, not with the directed studies. I do know that part of it.
That's good to know.
Okay, any other questions for me?
Any other questions for Mr. Ron Etheridge?
Good report.
Would you like to reflect on the school appreciation, the car tag?
I thought it went exceptionally well. We had, people with smiles on their faces, and always a good day. and they appreciate what Cherokee Nation does for them. And, you know, they express it in a lot of ways. And, of course, I get to meet with them more than, you know, once a year. And a lot of times it's depending on the counties, and I try to make it up north as much as I can. And I just got through making one in Rogers County superintendent's meeting a couple weeks ago, well, right before the Public School Appreciation Day, and they're very appreciative, you know, when they see you there. And so, you know, try to, like I said, make those meetings, and they want, you know, thank you all for sure, and Cherokee Nation. And any other questions?
Councilman Crittenden?
Ron, can you talk about, something was brought to our attention today about maybe some potential teacher raises? Can you answer any of those questions?
Okay. I had a brief visit. Go ahead, Secretary. Okay. Brief visit, and it based on my knowledge of it. You know, the proposal will be to kind of get out in the forefront with Cherokee Nation, with our school at Sequoia, and to allocate, Secretary, what?
This will be for the 45 certified teachers that we have in Sequoia and Immersion. This will be a lump sum payment of $5,000 now and a $5,000 increase to their contract when contracts begin July the 1st. So this will be something in a substitute budget bond that's will be for your consideration this evening at full council.
Yes, Councilman Crittenden, go ahead.
Right, and before I say anything, I teach school,
Sure.
and so supportive of teachers. I've just got a few questions. Like I said, it was just told to me in my office there, so I've got a few questions. So now, where's the money coming from?
We have it in the unappropriated reserve funds to be able to commit to this. We can certainly get finance to follow up this evening before when the budget mod is discussed to get more detail. But the funds are available to fund this pay raise.
It's like 45 times 5,000 this year and next year.
And next year, correct.
And I'm supportive, all teachers. You know, some of these things that get laid out to us just last second, you know, I really don't have time to wrap my brain around it. I'm for any teacher getting a raise. You know, what comes to mind is there's a lot of Cherokee schools and teachers, you know, that would be great, you know, to include some of them. And, you know, just, and I'm going to support it. But, you know, there's things like the valedictorian thing that we kind of look at each other, where are you going to find the money? And it just seems like somebody had an idea, and by golly, there's the money. And which is a good thing, you know, but have you all ever heard there's not a pot of money for this and not a pot of money for that? But then on some things, it's just, there it is. So that, and again, I'm going to support it. But is it to kind of show the state, look kind of what we do, or is it really sincerely to appreciate these teachers that we have?
I can't believe anyone would suggest it's not to sincerely express appreciation
I didn't
to the
suggest
teachers.
that.
However, it's not. It's because, number one, it's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do. Secondarily, we hope the state of Oklahoma looks at the Cherokee Nation as leaders in education, which they do and they should, and there's ample reason for them to look at us as leaders, and we hope that they do the right thing. The legislature's in the midst of considering this at the moment, but we think the moment is now, and we think that we can show some leadership. But first and foremost, it's because the teachers deserve the raise.
Yeah, well, it's long overdue. I'm glad that the administration is stepping up. We've been talking about this for a while now, about the 3% raise that they get, and then the Christmas bonus doesn't
Equate.
it doesn't equate, I guess, to what some of our employees at Cherokee Nation receive. And we're trying to get our teachers over at Sequoia treated fairly as employees here at Cherokee Nation. And so my question is, with this $5,000 lump sum that you guys are presenting, will the teachers be eligible for the $1,000 Christmas bonus and the 3% Cherokee Nation employee raise?
3%, not the 1,000.
Well, nothing will change in terms of their pay structure other than the amount goes up, is my understanding.
That's correct.
The Cherokee Nation employee here at Cherokee Nation gets a $1,000 Christmas bonus, and they get a 3% raise every year. My
Cherokee
question,
Nation certified staff does not get to 3%.
this
They're on
other
a different,
teachers,
they're on a different contract.
that's correct.
They're on a 180-day contract.
Okay.
Okay,
So-
counselors are on a 200-day contract. Theirs is different,
So they won't receive the 3%.
No, no.
Okay.
and they hadn't been receiving it.
They've never received the 3%. We've been trying to get them to get the 3%.
I have a comment.
Yes, Speaker.
It wasn't until like 1996 they even started getting teacher retirement there. You remember, Mr. Qualls?
Yes.
We brought you in from another school. We couldn't get good teachers up there at Sequoia. And first thing I asked when I left the public schools and came here, we couldn't get good teachers there. And first question I asked, how come we can't? Well, we didn't have a retirement plan. So we implemented, the council implemented a retirement plan. And then it started changing, and Mr. Quall's administration changed the curriculum and the criteria for admission. And now we have a waiting list there at Sequoia. I'm really happy for what you guys have done. You know, being a former teacher myself, I hope the state takes a long, hard look and say, hey, the Cherokees are taking the lead again, but we've always been in the lead when they allow us to do it. You know, we had the first, higher ed institution west of the Mississippi. We're going to take the lead again in education. That's what those teachers told us last week, and we were giving out the tag money, $5.4 million. Where's the State Department? I mean, the state is responsible for some of these issues that we have here in Oklahoma. Are they just going to let the tribes take it all? We're building the roads, we're doing the education, we're taking care of the health now, we're doing housing. Is the state going to help out with this? If not, give us back our state. We'll name it back Sequoia again. We'll take all of Tulsa east and say, let us handle it. You guys can't handle the parks. We're having to take those over. So I think this is a wonderful thing that you guys are doing. This is a great precedent because education has always been number one in Cherokee Nation history.
That's true.
I applaud you guys.
Yeah, thanks, Speaker. So 3% off of, let's say 40,000, say a teacher's making $40,000, okay? And 3% of that is $1,200 per year that they receive. This $5,000, this is a one-time lump sum, $5,000, or is this going to be a reoccurring?
But what he said,
This is a lump sum now, very next pay period that it can be processed. And then when the new contracts are signed, those will show an increase in base of $5,000.
It's an increase of base.
Yes.
Their base pays an increase.
will be in their
base.
salary schedule. That will, every year, will reflect that.
Okay. Now, the increase they're getting right now is a BIA step scale. Is that what they're receiving right now, Mr. Etheridge? Is the
Increase.
BIA step on the pay scale? They're on a BIA step.
No, the
Mr.
5,000 that they're getting right now, that you would, if you
Their
vote
current
to
pay,
approve.
their current pay is what he's talking about.
Yeah, right, it's, yeah,
Pay
it's,
scale.
it's,
Yes,
yes,
Mr.
yes,
Qualls.
which is 5% above what the state is.
Okay. Mr. Qualls, what is that?
There's no 3% on the steps. It's like any other public school in Oklahoma. It may be $350. Some districts are different. Could jump to 400. All districts are different.
But what
But
the,
there's no 3%. It's probably 400 or less at any school district.
Mr. Qualls, Talquah Sequoia specific BIA contract school, a teacher that is a teacher there, what percent is that step, or what's the amount that step equates to?
That's probably, well, let me put it this way. If if you taught 3 years and got 3 steps, you would be at that $1,200 you was looking for on that 3%.
For 3 years? Or,
All the Cherokee Nation employees you said got 3% as far as a raise.
yes,
That's not true for the teachers because they're on contract.
yes.
They get a step each year, which is $300 and something. You said $40,000.
Yes, at 1,200.
1,200. Well, it takes a teacher 3 to 4 years to attain that.
Gotcha.
They don't get it every year.
Yeah. And that's why we were adamant in this committee of trying to get the Sequoia teachers equal to the Cherokee Nation employees because they're receiving more compensation on their 3% raise. And the Sequoia teachers, they might get $300 or $400 a year, but your employees here at Cherokee Nation are getting $1,200 if they're making $40,000 a year. So I commend the administration. $5,000 lump sum to the base, it's home run. That the teachers are going to be ecstatic about that. But it's just if this is a one-time deal, so next year they're going to sign their contract. They're going to have an increase of $5,000 into their base, but they're going to fall back into the BIA step scale that we just mentioned. That's going to be a $300 increase a year. Let's give them a $5,000 base increase, and let's give them the 3%. Let's do away with the step scale that the BIA does, or whatever that is, and let's put them on the 3% that Cherokee Nation receives. And I know what the argument is. Well, they work 180 days a year, and the Cherokee Nation employee works 261 days a year, or whatever that is. That's the argument there, but you know, I don't know. I'm just saying, the Sequoia teachers they don't feel like they're being treated equally to Cherokee Nation employees when they fall under Cherokee Nation HR. They fall under the Cherokee Nation policies. They fall under the Cherokee Nation umbrella. So why don't we treat them equal to Cherokee Nation employees?
You're comparing apples and oranges. We're talking about employees and you're talking about school teachers. Mr. Qualls, do you have that feeling that they feel like they're not being treated fairly?
Morale is pretty good. With this, it's on.
Okay.
And you know, teachers take the job and they know that there's a step raise in each school district that they go to. So I think they're going to be very happy. And I understand what Councilman Walkenstick is saying also, teachers trying to be equal to regular employees. We're kind of comparing, we right, apples to oranges.
Yeah.
Comparing apples to apples, it's still a home run. It's a good thing. And I agree with you. You know, it's tough when, and they know that employees here get 3% every year. pretty much.
As Secretary, have you guys discussed that in your cabinet on the 3% and the teachers on the step, and then the 3% Cherokee Nation employees? Have you guys discussed that, or has it came up?
That was not, that did not come up in our discussions of this pay increase, which is a substantial pay increase. And I agree with the speaker, this is going to be a real good shot in the arm and a home run for.
There's no question.
And I think it's definitely a move in the right direction.
It's a step in the right direction. How can you make a negative into a positive in public school? You just heard from Councilor Quinn there saying he'd love to have all the Cherokees get a raise. But
No.
where's the state? When you work for the State Department, they're supposed to take care of you, aren't they?
Well, the 5,000's a home run. That's.
Well, yeah, it is a home run.
But we're
What's
talking
the issue?
The 3% and the step. While we're talking about pay increases for teachers, let's discuss that right now.
And pay increase for non-teachers is what you're still back to apples and oranges.
Non-teachers.
Yeah, non-teachers. You said employees at Cherokee Nation, then the teachers at Sequoia.
They're all employees of Cherokee Nation. These are
But
all.
these are teachers, though.
They're employees of Cherokee Nation.
Yes. I don't understand where you're going with this. Chairman.
Okay. Speaker,
I know what your argument is, but to me, it's not making sense. Because the Sequoia teachers, do they take off during the summer? Couple of months?
They're 180 days,
Okay.
and they get off in the summer.
Okay, so Gail Miller, our administrative assistant, she doesn't get off 2 months.
No.
So you're still wanting to make everything equal? It
Get
doesn't.
off in the summer, they get a spring break, they get a Christmas break. Yes, they get some breaks.
Maybe when you go.
When I came here, I'm asking, all I'd ever done, worked in education. Every Christmas, I'm off. Go to my boss, I said, Chief of Staff, I said, I'm not used to this. I'm off. Well, you're no longer doing what you did. And I said, that's right, sir. He said, okay, you get annual leave, and it builds up. If you have the days, you take off. And so that's what I did. That's the way it works.
And just while we're talking about it here, what's BIA responsibility percentage-wise and the Cherokee Nation's responsibility when it comes to Sequoia? I've asked that, and I've had a lot smarter people than me ask me that, and they don't even understand it. So is there a simple answer? BIA's responsibility and Cherokee Nation's responsibility?
Well, I'm gonna tell you, I can explain, I hadn't been here very long, but it's square peg, round hole. There's not enough funding, okay, for us to keep the school like we've got it, like we can be proud of. Okay, I've seen Sequoia 2 different ways. I've seen it when you couldn't be proud of it. Okay, and I was not a part of it at that point in time. But we can be proud of it now, the way it's handled.
I'm proud of it.
And what we're doing. Okay, and there's not enough funding to get it done with the BIE. I mean, it's just not there. I mean, I don't care who looks at it. And we have to be able, I've asked the other tribes, okay, if they have to offset, and every one of them says yes, and every one of them has schools. Okay, but if you want to be proud of your school, and you want to keep it as is, and you want to keep the block scheduling, and you want to keep the testing before you get in, and you want to allow the students to go and concurrently enroll and get ahead and score those high scores on the ACT and be proud of what we have, you'll keep it like you got it.
You think this body is doing enough?
Well, yeah, you're helping. You're coming in and helping. You're offsetting.
No, I'm not.
You're supplying the aid that's needed to get it.
I'm not naming any names here, but someone that would know, sometimes thinks we could boot in a little more. And so that's, I just want to know if Cherokee Nation's doing our part to cover the BIE. Now you'd say they're probably shorting us a little bit, or it's just not enough?
Well, it's just not enough. And it's the same way nationally, on other schools. It's not just our school. It's what they got, what the feds are going to allow on the distribution is what it amounts to. I think it's great what we're doing here, allowing, and I'll tell you this. I mean, I held back in saying this, and Joe's talking about the teachers, and we have good teachers up there, okay? But I'm going to tell you now, sometimes it's difficult because what happens is people go out there and they get vested in the teacher's retirement in the state of Oklahoma. Okay, that's why a lot of them won't leave the state. It's better to leave the state, but they don't leave the state until the time comes they can leave the state and go ahead and draw the retirement. That's why a lot of them will not come to Sequoia, because they're vested in the state and they want that retirement. And they're going to go ahead, and then there's the times we get them when they can draw that retirement. And we get good teachers. Good teachers over in in Salsaw and Muldrow and Vine and Sequoia County over there, and over here in Adair County, Delaware County, that's on the borders. They go over into Arkansas when they have the opportunity, and they double dip. And that's what happens here. I mean, we have to kind of sometimes wait. And so I think it's outstanding that we're allowing him that additional 5%. At least we got to give them that to get the good people in here.
Mr. Etheridge, Mr. Qualls had a comment. Yes.
Just briefly back to the BIE funding, because we're kind of getting sidetracked, but my conversations with them, they'll tell us that they're only supplemental as far as funding is concerned.
Yes, Councilman Wade.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I've enjoyed the conversation. I've learned something today. Ron and Secretary, we're getting this funding, and it's a good thing, from the unappropriated budget fund. Last month, we couldn't supply enough money to all the Cherokee vowels and salves. We had to make a cut. And a few months before that, this body provided a work group to reconstruct the high school educational fund, scholarship fund. And we had to wonder where that money was coming from. We had to just go ahead and run it through this committee and this council and discussed it with the administration about that funding. So here's probably a couple $100,000. And it's going to be well spent. But we could have covered the vowels and salves last month with just a few $1,000s. And I don't, the other educational budget for the high school scholarship program wasn't all that much. So we've got money for education, and let's put it to good use. But the next time somebody tells me we don't have enough money to cover all the vowels and salves, Cherokee citizens, Cherokee kids, I'm going to remember this day where $200,000 just appeared. And that goes more for the administration, Ron, than you. But I'm going to remember this day. Thank you.
Your comment, Councilman Wade? Well, again, I wasn't trying to portray an argument of no. I was just trying to get our teachers over Sequoia where they feel the same as a Cherokee Nation employee. I talk to those teachers a lot because a lot of them taught me, and I visit with them, and those are some of the comments that they bring to me as being to a council member, and that's the reason it's a conversation that's adamant to me. It's something that I continue to bring forward to this body and to the administration. I'm tickled to death of the $5,000 to the base. I'm grateful. I'm thankful. The next thing I like to work out is something to do with that step, or to find a way to increase the step where it's similar to the state level step. Because the step they're receiving right now and the step that the state of Oklahoma teachers are getting isn't. It's not the same. So I'd like to get that either equal or get them that 3%. An employee at Cherokee Nation, I know a lot of them have bachelor's degrees and they work for us and they're getting 3%, but they don't get the summers off. And but there's also a lot of them that don't have their degrees. They're working for us, and that 3% comes in really good. And our teachers over at Sequoia, they've all went to college and they've all got their license and certifications, and and let's face it, you're not going to get the best teachers unless you pay them right. I mean, the teacher of the year in Oklahoma went to another state to teach last year because the state of Oklahoma's pay is so low. But anyways. Hey, Councilman Crittenden, your comment about the funding, the BIE funding to Sequoia and Cherokee Nation. Jody Reese, I can't remember what that figure was, but Jody Reese talked about how much Cherokee Nation was giving Sequoia schools, and it was, do you recall that, Speaker, what the amount was?
Not right off. Where's Jody Reese? Is that who you had conversation with?
Yes, he came before the council maybe a year ago, because the perception was that the Cherokee Nation was giving a lot of money to Sequoia schools. That was the perception. The reality, it was a minute amount that we were giving to Sequoia, and I want to say it was 5 or 10% of what their operating costs. I believe it was that low. And
their annual budget's what, about $5 million, Mr. Qualls?
Well, I don't want to put words in Joey's mouth. I'd rather him say exactly what it is because he's a financial guy, but probably roughly somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, this weekend when they were participating, there were Cherokees from all over the 14 county at large, and they wasn't representing Sequoia schools. They was representing a tribal school. It was all Indian people from all different tribes which that school represents all different tribes, and they're supporting that school. And luckily, the Cherokee Nation, that's in our backyard. Like we have that's a Cherokee Nation school. That's our school. Cherokee Nation is our school. Everyone at this table, this is our school. And we all need to take ownership of that. And we all need to really be thankful for that. And when we get the opportunity to fund it as our school, like take pride in our school. So that's those are my comments. But anyways, well, does anybody have any comments or questions regarding any of this? Saying none.
Good report.
Mr. Crittenden, appreciate you. Good report.
Mr. Crittenden.
Or Mr. Etheridge, sorry. Slap in the face. Sorry.
Mr. Crittenden got a good report.
Next, we got Superintendent of Schools, Mr. Leroy Qualls. Oh. Vernon, we'll get you here in a second.
Ms. Thompson?
No, go ahead, Steph.
You can set it now.
Well, you can ask for that right now, can't you?
Well, thank you. Before we get to that, and that's the good stuff, I think what's been discussed as far as helping teachers out is well appreciated. You know, hopefully I'll be going into my 40th year next year. We've seen one teacher raise since 1990. But you know, haircuts go up, insurance goes up, groceries goes up, cost of living goes up. And that's why Oklahoma's lost a lot of good teachers to other states. And I've got personal friends that are gone now, you know, but and they tell me how good it is wherever they're at. So what was brought up, it's a home run for teachers. And I think in a sense for the Cherokee Nation, leading the way again in education, as we say, meeting after meeting and Teacher Appreciation Day after Teacher Appreciation Day. Not only talking the talk, but walking the walk. I'm hoping the state will jump in there and do some things to help save our kids, because that's what it boils down to. It really does. I've seen classrooms combined because the shortages are getting tougher and tougher as far as teachers getting. I mean, think about it. What if you had little ones right now coming up and you had half the teachers or a portion of them were emergency certified or substitute teachers? You know, that's not a good situation for the future of our young people to try. And seeing you at different events, and you're doing some good things, and at times, but everybody's got a common cause. And got this down here to this council chambers today. Our players did an incredible job. Our coaches did an amazing job. They didn't start 3 weeks ago when the district tournament started. They started last summer. And the time that teachers have off, and opening a gym for these kids and taking them to team camps and individual camps, and we just see the result of it.
You got to add to that 180 days, don't you, sometime?
Well, that's true. And I was around when you had to do man-made tests. And then you had to grade those tests. You didn't have the Scantrons, or you didn't have the standardized tests to hand out. That was work. and it still is work. And with our new society of students, new generation coming up, they have more on their plate, realistically, than what some of us did when we were in school. It's more complex for them, and that's why these kids need a good foundation as far as decision-making in their lives. I mean, I didn't mean to go into all that, I'm sorry, but I just wanted to comment, you know, with what y'all are looking at, it's going to make a bunch of teachers ecstatic. And if the state gets a raise next fall, it'll be the first one in 11 years. And that's the only one since House Bill 1017, which was back in the 1900s sometime.
1990.
With that being said, you know, our ladies obviously did a fantastic job. 2-point win in the state finals. We had 3 girls make the all-tournament teams. Lexi, of course, made the first team. And we had Aubrey Brown make the second team, all-tournament team. And Jonia Walker was the MVP of the tournament. And Lexi Keys. And they're all local kids. And boys and girls combined, each boys and girls have made 6 straight state tournaments. And that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I remember when Speaker Byrd was chief, we made it for the first time in 126 years. And if you think about it, 125 years is a long time. So SSA wasn't around when it first started, but just a little bit of trivia there in history. I don't want to overlook, I mean, this is a good talk point for me. Fantastic, the achievement of our kids. And like I said, they did it through teamwork. And you guys are a great team as a council, you know, and I teach the same thing to our teachers. I mean, all the way Saturday night when I walked out, the first person that gave me a hug was a guy that's worked in facilities for 26 years. I've told him before, he was an important part of our team. You make everyone feel important, they'll run through a wall for you. And that's how I kind of look at things. Our boys powerlifting team was state runners-up this year. Last year they won it. This year, this close. We had one kid that would have won the individual championship. He had the best bench press, and his foot touched the bench. So that was disqualified. That's how it goes. But they still, as a team, finished runner-up. Because we had several. Logan Bush won the state championship as far as powerlifting. He had the outstanding squat. Caleb Helsley wound up 4th, and he's the one I mentioned on the bench press. He would have won it. He wound up 4th. And Sage Locust wound up 4th. So we had some kids that did a phenomenal job in that also. Lainey Pennington won the state championship. She's a sophomore. She's a female powerlifter. Last year I reported to you as a freshman, she was state runner-up. This year she won it. So we've got a lot of things to be grateful for that we've been blessed with. Today, believe it or not, baseball's off at Salina playing baseball. They played Fort Gibson last Monday. Things kind of overlap. Everything is busy. Prom is March the 30th coming up. I was excited to hear, as well as our band has done this year and performed, that one of our students, if you'll remember, I reported last fall, a kid named Bailey Stone, our drum major, is interviewing at OU on April the 13th to become a member of the OU Marching Pride Band. That's good stuff. Whether he makes it or not, at least he is knocking on the door for the opportunity, and he wants to do it. So it takes lofty goals and a lot of ambition to get things done, a lot of motivation, and a lot of teamwork. I mean, I couldn't be here if it wasn't for the educators that I had growing up and coaches. I I give them a lot of credit for that. Dr. Dobbins, Coach Cox, a guy named James Eads, a guy named Pat Martin. That's not to mention the teachers. C.W. Gilstrap, psychology teacher. He said, you'll be lucky to live till you're 40 years old. He told me it's because I'm so physical and everything, basketball and whatever I do. You know, and he was almost right. I'm banged up now, but I'm still going. But a lot of good things I'm proud to report on today to you.
Any questions or comments for Mr. Qualls? Yes, Councilman Dobbins.
Of course, this is evidence of the achievement of the girls, and they deserve all the accolades, but you mentioned in passing, both girls and boys, 6 straight state tournament appearances. That's incredible. I mean, the girls can get the boys have gone to the state tournament 6 straight years in 3A. That's, what is it, 64 teams, so only
Right.
8 teams out of 64 go every year.
Right.
And both the boys and the girls have done that 6 straight years.
It's amazing.
Mr. Shambaugh, Jefferson.
Yeah, I just, from the short time I've been here, it seems like, there's so many positive things come out of your school. Not only sports, but academics. And it's almost like, it's almost expected now at this point in time because you've been so successful in different things. And listening to you talk about what's important and what's important to the teachers, that's really important to me because that tells me, you have the pulse of what's going on in your school, obviously because you're successful in so many venues. So whenever you tell me the teachers, are very happy with this and it's a home run, I wholeheartedly support you 100% in what we're going to do. And I'd be proud, to vote to give you guys more money because you deserve it. I mean, you've showed that you deserved it. And the fact that you come here and, you're telling us what's going on in your school and you have so much positive things going on, I think it's a great deal. You have to start somewhere. I just think it's a great start.
I appreciate the kind words. And I will share with you a guy that was kind of a mentor to me was a guy from Jay named Butch Winfield. And then I followed, Dwayne Collins was a friend of mine in Clifton. And we knocked heads in girls basketball years ago. You put us together and we're a bunch of knotheads, but we're a bunch of knotheads that care about young people, care about the basketball teams and the students in the schools. So I just give them a little kudos for something up your way. Butch and I go way back, and Dwayne. They used to have some fantastic teams up there. But I appreciate that.
Any other comments from Mr. Qualls? Yes.
How about that
Councilman
weight? I've never
Smith.
touched a go basketball.
You bet. You bet.
How much it weigh?
It's heavier than it looks.
Down my way, we don't have any go
About a
basketball.
half a bale of hay.
It's not near a bale of hay.
I tell you, under Mr. Qualls' leadership over Sequoia, like I said, back in '95 when he came in to Sequoia, the school wasn't a school of choice, and the athletic teams were being picked to play for homecoming games. But this is a result of Mr. Qualls' leadership and the people he puts around him, coaches and principals and staff. Mr. Qualls is good at recognizing talent. So, anyways, we've been blessed. And like I said, it is expected for Sequoia to be in the state tournament every year. So we try to keep the kids hungry because we try to tell those kids that they're not playing not only for their school and their parents, but they're playing for Indian people across all the United States. People tune in on the radio. Our Indian people, they're especially in our rural areas, self-esteem's low. We got challenges before us, but whenever our Indian people win, it's a victory for all of us, not just for Sequoia Schools. So, anyways, Mr. Qualls, we appreciate you and your leadership, and I know you're humble in all things, and we look forward to great things in the future. So,
Thank you for the kind words. Before I leave the mic here, and I've spoken up at some superintendent's meetings that we've had. They talk about school consolidation, and to me it runs deeper than what you even think about. I mean, if we have to shut down community-type schools, we have to. But I come from a place, I went to school at Bellefonte. Some schools are close, like Lost City was close to Hobart, and they got shut down. But let me tell you, when you stray away very far, you've got two institutions in communities that kind of holds the communities together. First is church, and the other is a school. And, you know, if our schools do, if our state does shut down a lot of rural schools, my fears from things that I've seen and could kind of predict, I hope I'm wrong, but I hope there's not an increase in drug use. I hope there's not an increase in student dropout rate, because you lose that glue that helps keep the communities together and the families. And I can't imagine what it'd be like without churches and schools. But anyway, those are just my thoughts, and I've shared those many times. So, thank you.
Thank you for your heart. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right. Last, Miss Verna Thompson from Head Start. Miss Verna, she brings home the gold ball every year by being the number
That's
one
a hard
Head
act to
Start.
follow. I wanted to go before him.
Hey, you're number one in the nation, though, aren't you?
Well, that's my report this month. We go to the Nationals April 16th through the 20th.
Okay.
That's our federal review, and that's when our huge, some say it's an audit, some say it doesn't qualify as an audit, but it sure feels like one. But I brought some folks with me today. Chad, who is our enrollment and recruitment leader, and he has a packet for you all with the income guidelines, applications, and so on for y'all to help us recruit out in the community. So Chad, if you want to hand those out and say a little bit about your packet, we won't keep you long. I can help too, Chad, while you talk.
You don't have any gold ones?
No, not right.
You got a lot of gold footballs, though, don't you?
Yeah.
Get those ovals, don't you?
Hey, first off, we want to thank you for the work that you do to help us to recruit our families that we serve. There's probably not a week that goes by that we get a phone call that say, Counselor so-and-so recommended me to the program, so we appreciate that. There were some changes that we made to our enrollment process this school year. Of course, last year we implemented the Child Plus program, which has helped tremendously with our child tracking. So with that comes some changes to our enrollment process. The biggest change on the application would be that we changed from an enrollment application to an intake application, because it was confusing families. They thought that they were automatically enrolling their children into the program because it said enrollment at the top. So we did change that, and also change the color of the applications as well. Also with Child Plus, we changed over to the point system. Once the family turns the application in, we screen the application, put it through our process, and enter it into Child Plus. The system itself gives the application points. And once the system has those points, it puts those applications into priority for us. There's no more of possibility of a family saying, well, so-and-so got in before I did. Because once that name comes up with that number of points, that's the next child on the list. And then also too, we'd just like to remind you all about our classrooms. Our earlier Head Start classrooms, they do serve 8 children apiece, and then also Head Start, 17 children. We do get phone calls sometimes wanting to know why children aren't getting in. And it's because we're only licensed for 8 children for early Head Start and 17 for Head Start. So once we have a slot come open, then we try to move on to the next child as quick as possible. And we actually have 30 days to fill that slot.
Any questions?
Any questions?
Chad is our tech titan on Child Plus and all of the enrollment, and it's just amazing what he can make that machine do to spit out any information on families, and that's what the review team will be here to look at all of our systems, not just us, but Cherokee Nation. And we're really proud of our fiscal operation. We always get we pass with flying colors with our financial support system, and we appreciate that, as well as HR and procurement. But the one thing that they're going to really hold our feet to the fire, as well as the enrollment and who gets in. Chad, talk a little bit about, most of our questions come from folks wanting to get in that are way over income, and they say they will pay if they can come, but we can't do that. We wish they could buy a slot. It's not allowed.
Yeah, the way that the system will work now, the most points that we've seen applied to a family so far is 54 points. And those go into our homeless and foster families. And we do have several over incomes with our old system that were considered a priority 12, that they're receiving 0 points. But in that case, and it falls to the date the application was submitted to us. But we do receive several phone calls, just like Verna said, wanting their children in, and it's just a waiting game, waiting on a slot to come open. If for some reason a center has an opening and they're the next name on the list, that's who we'll move on to if we have to.
Income-wise.
So a lot of over-income people want in?
Want to pay if they can just
That's
get
the
in.
problem Rob Doherty had when he was little, just over-income, he couldn't get any services.
Councilman Crittenden?
Yeah. Chad, how long can they stay up till what age? I'm sure it's in here.
For early Head Start's up until age 3, and Head Start is 4 and age up until age 5.
But they can get in at 6 weeks.
Yes.
So that's why we say this is the first scholarship that you all give at 6 weeks old, and they can stay with us if they qualify. It's a separate application from early Head Start into Head Start, so they can be with us for years. And it's a 5-year scholarship.
Like the 4-year-old, does that take are the slots, are there so many for the 4-year-old and so many for the 3-year-olds?
We actually give a little bit of preference to 3-year-olds because they can be in the program for 2 years. Now, public school classrooms, they give preference to 4-year-olds. So.
See, I was wondering if, at 3 years old, they can go in the public schools, and for sure 4-year-olds, and I was wondering if you try to get them to do that to open up the slots here, or how that would work.
It really varies from site to site, because you'll have a real healthy waiting list here, and over here you won't have very much of a waiting list. So your chances are better in getting in at no water or,
Right.
yeah.
Like at the small schools in that area county, they've got the 3 and 4-year-olds, a lot of them. And we were sure looking for that. Me and my wife was paying the babysitters, and we couldn't wait till they turned 3.
Yeah.
But, but anyway, I appreciate what you do. I've called you a few times and always very helpful. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
he knows that system. Thank you, Chad. The next one is Sandra and Barbara. Sandra mostly, this is one of the reports. Let me pass those out for you.
Okay.
This is our developmental gains. It kind of gives a picture of the children when they come into our program and when they get all the teachings. We have bachelor degrees here, by the way. That we will be representing.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you all, and I just want to share this with you and explain to you how we do this. As you see, My Teaching Strategies is a website where our teachers enter all the documentation of what the children do on a daily basis. They have to enter some kind of documentation once a week. So if you see the first trimester, it started out with the social emotional, and I'll just explain one of them because the rest of it is really self-explanatory. Below, there were 440 children during our first trimester. That was at 54.32%. So as a progress report, the next trimester ended on January 22nd. From 440 children that were below, it's kind of like their social skills. A lot of them are the babies, and so it is now 100. There's only 141 of them that is not.
That's supposed to be 18.
Oh, it's supposed to be 18, I'm sorry. Okay, that January 22nd, it should be 2018. That's my mistake, sorry. But when you see that, that means now that the numbers on top, below, they get lower as each trimester ends. So we have, at the time when social emotional at the first trimester ended, there were only 78 of them that were exceeding, but now we have 193. So the higher numbers, and then so.
This is what the review team's going to be looking at, and it'll be nice if they see you all somewhere in the office here and they ask you, do you get periodic reports? You all got the first trimester way back there, and Sandra's back to do the second, and you'll be back again in July?
In July.
In July to give you an update on that. So our children are growing. I really believe that our children, any child, the first 3 years last forever. So we have to really strike while the iron's hot, and they're sponges, and our teachers are so good at teaching the children at different age groups that they work with, and so on and so on. Sandra generates these reports based on her knowledge of the system, and it required a lot of training with that software system, and that's what they're going to come in and look at, all of our systems and our reports. So any questions about any of this that we've handed out today?
Yes, Councilman Buzzard.
The meetings, and what's said about the column of meetings.
At the first one, the ones that are under social emotional, let's say the first trimester, there was 440 children that was like scoring lower than the others. Median means at that time there was already 292 children that were able to maybe comfort.
Okay,
and
I got you now.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
We get some that start the first day that could be a teacher assistant. That concludes our report. If there are any more questions.
Any questions? All right, seeing none, hey, good luck at Nationals. Hope you guys hit a home run and come back with some good news.
Oh, we hope so.
Yeah.
We hope so. Thank you.
All right, seeing no old business, no new business. Yes, Councilman Buzzer.
I just want to bring up Western education. I don't know who all watched the Oscars last week, and West Duty came on and talked in Cherokee. Wasn't that something? I thought, man, that is something to be proud of.
It's probably the first time Cherokee has been spoken on the Oscars, I'd say, at the years I've watched it. Yeah, he makes us proud. So, anyways, here a motion to adjourn. Second. Yeah. All right. First set. All those in favor, say aye. All right.